Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 173 of the Terminal City FC podcast. Josh Roy not joined alongside Nathan Durec as per usual because he is on vacation. He's having fun at Disney World with his wife and kid, which he truly deserves. He works hard, but no solo show, no co-host. We're gonna have a special episode this week, and this week, none other than Vancouver Whitecaps assistant head coach Michael D'Agostino. Michael, thanks for coming on the show.
No, excited to be here.
So let's get started with where the team is at right now. I'm sure you're happy with the record, with the way things are going, and especially with the depth stepping up and so many different players scoring goals. But bigger challenges await, especially with Chicago Fire in town this weekend. Got some injuries, international call-ups. So how are you and your staff preparing for this weekend's game?
Yeah, I mean, we're preparing like we would any other week, except for the fact that we just have a little bit more time. Obviously, everyone knows we've got guys away on an international break and a couple injuries that are still, lingering around. But we've had a little bit more time this week to actually train. It's been 8 games in 24 days, I think it was, and so it was play a game, recover, prepare really quickly, give them everything we can in terms of information to get ready for the next game. But this week's been a bit special in terms of the fact that we've had a 4 day lead in. We've been able to kind of progress a little bit more on what we want to do tactically and give them a little bit more of the physical loading that they would need. But yeah, we're preparing like we would any other game, in a single game week, and it's kind of been special. It's been good to be on the training pitch and get to work a little bit more instead of just kind of preparing for a game and recovering and then preparing again. So it's been nice.
Yeah, and 8 games in 24 days is a lot to start a season. Just what does that say about the team that they still managed to pull off this record despite all that?
I think it shows a lot. I think it shows that mentally and physically they're all in. They're doing everything they can to recover. They're making sure that they're taking care of their nutrition. Mentally is sometimes more difficult than physical. The tiredness of not just changing time zones, changing countries, long travel, flights early, flights late, flights in the middle of the day, those types of things. So, I think it shows a lot of resilience from them. I think it also shows the depth that we have. We've been able to make a lot of rotations, and obviously some guys have played more than others, but it's kind of the next guy up steps in and does their role, and it's been great that way. Everyone's kind of pulled the rope in the same direction, and we've had a real team, let's say, start to the season where we've been able to be successful.
And what's it like been working with Jesper? He comes in just a few months ago, and just what has he been like as a coach, as a mentor, and how does he compare to Vanni Sartini?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no secret that working with Vanny for the past 5 years, he's one of the most important mentors in my career, and I'm very close with Vanny, and it's been a little bit different. At first, kind of came in blind, not knowing Jesper at all, but I have to give him a lot of credit. He's come in and been a great leader in terms of understanding of what we've done at this club and how we've been successful over the past, let's call it 3, 4, 5 seasons. And he's looked at it through a glass of, okay, well, how can we improve this group rather than how can we, revamp everything? And he's come in and not tried to like revolutionize, just kind of adapt a little bit and say, you know what, you guys are doing a really good job. You got a good team, you got a good staff, and that doesn't just include the technical staff, that includes everybody in the club. And he's come in and learned from us and then given us kind of the direction that he wants to go in certain ways. So, I see him as a great football mind. In terms of tactics, slight different differentiations between him and Vanny, but both great football minds with good knowledge and good people. Jesper's come in and you can tell right away he's a good person and he cares about the people around him, and that doesn't include just us as coaches, but also the players and everybody across the club, and that makes a big difference because you need to have kind of trust in that person leading the group.
And we know a lot about Jesper and Vanni as coaches, but how would you describe yourself as a coach? And I understand you were a midfielder when you played the game, and how did that help you develop as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I played a few different positions. Definitely played a lot as a midfielder, sometimes as a fullback, but it's not important. But I think what's important is that you learn a lot seeing the game from the other side, and I think um, when you're a coach, you're looking at the whole group. You're looking at how it's working between lines, intersectorially, the whole group, small groups, units. Maybe it's just strikers. Maybe it's just a certain moment of the game that you're looking at. But, as a player, it's different. You're kind of, obviously you're playing in a team environment, but you're focused on yourself. How I describe myself as a coach is I think I'm, someone that really listens to the players. Obviously it's different being an assistant coach than as a head coach because you're not implementing someone else's ideas, but at the end of the day, the decision comes from the head coach of how we want to work and how we want to play, and so you're finding ways to adapt to them. But the way that I work with players is, in my mind, trying to be very inclusive, collaborative. I'll try and spend a lot of time with the players in an individual basis, whether it's just having conversations and getting feedback from them. Because for me, we have a role as coaches, but we also can't forget how difficult it is for players because players are the ones that need to actually go and play and put their body on the line, day in and day out. So, I like to see myself as a coach that really listens to them and can really take what we know in terms of knowledge, implementing it with the group, but also listening to them to get their opinions because I think that's important.
And what's the journey been like for you as a coach? Because it's, as I understand, pretty much been in the Vancouver area. You're born and raised in Vancouver, but what's the journey been like rising through the ranks from the academy to the first team with essentially your hometown club?
Yeah, it's special for me because I am a hometown coach, and we have some more now here in the club, including Brendan Shaw. But I think in the past that was a very rare thing, and it's something I'm proud of. I started off when I came back playing. My last stint of playing was in Germany, and I came home and I got into kind of the soccer entrepreneurial world a little bit, and then I got into the kind of youth system in the Vancouver area, more in the local clubs. I was a technical director with North Vancouver football club. And then, I really had the passion for the more high performance elite environment and started off around 8 years ago here with the club, working as an assistant coach with the U15s. And then I got my chance with the U19s. And then from there, I went to the second team. And, I was working with Nick Dasovich at the time, who's also another highly regarded local coach, been around for a long time in the game. And then I got the chance to work with Vanny, and we ended up getting our chance, after Mark Dos Santos, and it went from there. And so I've learned a lot of things along the way. I personally think it's a great thing to come up through the coaching ranks because you learn a lot. Like I've done everything from coaching 5-year-olds at summer camps to working with international players now, and I think that that's helped me. You might not find the parallels, but for me, it's important to really see different parts of the game, and it gives you more tools to deal with the players that you deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's good to see someone local rise up through the ranks, and this must be extra special for you being part of your hometown club. But last year and one game the year before that, you did get to be the acting head coach for a bit. And what was that experience like for you? And what did you learn from those experiences?
Yeah, I learned a lot. The first one was a little bit, let's say, I don't want to say overwhelming because it wasn't overwhelming. It was within, I think, my skill set, but it was overwhelming in terms of like, you're the one that is making the decisions, and you're always protected as an assistant coach, for good or bad. You're protected a little bit. If things don't go right, you're not going to be, to blame per se. And if things do go well, you don't always get the credit, but that's the not the important thing. The important thing was that, like making the decisions is always the most difficult part, whether you recognize that as an assistant coach or not. Like we're there to give Jesper all of the information. We're there to give him, our opinion and what we think is right. But at the end of the day, he makes the decisions. And when that's turned on you and you're getting all the feedback and you're getting all the opinions, it makes you think in a different way because now you're the one that needs to make that final decision. And there might be 3 different ideas that you need to run with and then make that final call. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Halftime, is a big piece in this sport, and making sure that you're ready and prepared to say the right things to the players, not overwhelming them with too much good or too much bad, but trying to find a balance. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot. Obviously the circumstances in which I was acting head coach was not great because it meant that our head coach wasn't there. But I found it was a good experience and something that I learned a lot from.
Yeah, and even for you, facing the media for press conferences first time must have been quite the experience as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and I've done it in the past, but it is different after a game, especially after a loss. To be honest, I was lucky that we had a pretty good record. When I was getting to be the head coach, and it was usually wins or a couple draws. But after a loss, yeah, the questions are more difficult, and you go back out of that let's say press conference, always thinking about what can we do better, and if you said the right things or not. But yeah, no, I think those press conferences are are always exciting to get to do as well. It's something special. So yeah, I fully enjoyed it.
And just what's it like been working with these group of players over the past few years? Because under Vanny, and even now under Jesper, there's been a sense of togetherness and more of a we, not me mentality around this team. Just what's the whole scenario experience been like working with a collective group?
Yeah, they're a special group. We sometimes don't realize how, I don't want to say how lucky we are to have a group this cohesive, but I think the leaders within the group are all so hardworking, and it starts from our captain Ryan Gauld. He's a guy that is down to earth, humble, willing to work, not just in matches, but on the training pitch, in the gym, in our meetings. He's there, and he leads by example. And you've got countless amount of players that are also leading in that same kind of way, and we're very lucky to have that group. Obviously, we play a small part in making sure that we do put the team over the individual in every sense, because it is a team collective sport, and that's the most important thing, and that includes everybody. That doesn't just include the players. That can include everyone from the coaching staff to the medical staff to the performance staff to the nutritional staff. It could include everybody, because being a group and everybody on the same playing field is important, and I think there's a real sense of respect for everybody in the building. And again, I mentioned it already, but you've got guys that are international players that just have so much. They're so humble, but they're so willing to work, and you know you go through highs and you go through lows, but it's important that they're always kind of you know leading the group, making sure that we don't get too high when it's going well, and we don't get too low when it's not.
And what are you expecting from Chicago Fire on Saturday?
Yeah, they're kind of in a similar boat to us. They had some injuries. They've got a couple guys away with their national team. Um, they're a well organized team. Greg's got them playing good football. They've got two good, road results in a row. They're a good team with the ball. They're very technical. They love to build up through their midfielders. They've got some good rotations. They're an organized team, and they've got quality. They've got some new players that they brought in the off season that are very dynamic and can really hurt you if you don't deal with them in the right way. But we go into it with full confidence. We're 4-0, and we know that's not gonna, it's gonna be difficult to continue to win games back to back to back. But we go in with full confidence, regardless of who we are missing. It's more about the guys that are here for us, and we're going to expect them to be an organized team that is good. They're very good at set plays. They're very good defensively and offensively. So we just need to be on our A game.
Yeah, and what have you like most learning about Jesper and his controlled possession based system?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it does suit a lot of the players that we have. It's helped a lot of the guys that are a little bit more possession based. Talk about it like a JC Ngando is one that sticks out for me, and I think Andres has upped his game as a midfielder with the ball. We've got a lot of players that are good with the ball. I think the main thing that our possession based style of play, the most important thing is sometimes the opposite of that, which is our repressure. Because when we lose the ball, what Jesper wants is for us to go and win it back with lots of players in and around it, and that also helps us, because as soon as you win it back, you've got players in and around it, and we're not afraid to make short passes. We're not afraid to bounce the ball to create new angles. We're not afraid to play into areas that might not be as open. They might be tighter spaces, but I think the guys have taken the style of play well, and we just need to continue to not only play well, but deal with the ups and downs when they come.
And finally, before I let you go, besides coaching and being around the game, what do you like to do off the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I love spending time with my wife and my dogs. That's a big piece of my life. I do love sports in general. Yeah, I love to play tennis. I love to play golf. I love to play paddle when I get a chance to play. I like to be in the outdoors. I spend a lot of time, near the water, maybe sometimes in the parks, going for hikes, doing outdoor things. I love that. I love going out for food and for dinner, good restaurants, those types of things, and generally staying active. Like I'm just not a guy that can sit still for long. So, when I do get the chance to be away from the football center or away from the pitch, I want to keep moving. And that's a big part of my lifestyle for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on the show, and hope to have you again sometime in the future.
Absolutely. Really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you having me.
So that'll conclude this week's episode. Follow me on Twitter, BlueSky, Instagram, YouTube, all the podcast stuff in the description. Live stream back next week. Nathan will be back. Canada versus Mexico Nations League semifinal. I'll be running the post game for that. So busy guy today, and I'll be covering the Caps on Saturday. I'll be at PC Place without Nathan in the press box, and then Sunday, if Canada makes the final, I'll be covering that as well. So busy for me on this end, and Whitecaps back in action on Saturday. So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.